Hey everyone, this video is a little bit more about deciphering the stage and grade and the information that you receive upon the biopsy results for your diagnosis. So I have some notes here that I keep kind of peeking at so that I can refer to what happened and relay that into helpful information for you. So I had my biopsy, I had two different biopsy procedures done. There were two areas that showed up on the mammogram and ultrasound that they considered suspicious. So same day I had two different biopsy procedures completed, and that was on August 28th of 2014. My actual diagnosis, so the call that I received from the gynecologist's office, because that's who actually confirms the results, not the testing center necessarily that you went to have the imaging or the biopsy done. Every center is different, every doctor's situation is different. So in my case, that's what happened. I received that call on September 5th of 2014. And I'll never forget, I mean, it was like pins and needles for those 9 days waiting to hear the news, even though, like I had said before, I knew that that's what was happening and pretty much was confirmed that at the imaging center that day. And yet there's still nothing like trying to live your life, like going to work and taking care of your kids and interacting with your spouse and your family who are all on pins and needles waiting to hear the news that like your life is about to get flip-flopped, completely turned upside down. I was at work when I actually got the call, and everyone I worked with at that time knew that I was waiting on that call, and got the call. And I was at a model home selling real estate and told everyone around me and left and decided to take the rest of that day and the weekend to really process what was happening. So when I got that call and got the results of the biopsies, there are all kinds of terminologies that you won't understand initially until you live it or you've done research, or both. So pretty much the things that they look at are how big the tumor is, what the hormone makeup of the tumor is, and how aggressive the tumor is. All those things have to do with whether or not you go see a breast surgeon first or you go see an oncologist first, primarily whether or not you're going to do surgery first or chemotherapy first, sometimes, or radiation. Sometimes they like to do chemo or radiation first in order to shrink the size of the tumor to then do surgery. My situation was that I did surgery first and then followed with chemo and radiation and hormone therapy. So the size is important. So my tumor was 1.9 centimeters, and the second location, they actually believe they got out with the biopsy. That's how small it was, because it was not there after the fact. They confirmed that. So the size is important. If you look up breast cancer staging, there's stage 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in each stage, there are subsets of or at least in some of the stages, there's subsets of A and B. So I ended up being diagnosed ultimately with stage 1B due to the size and the makeup of the tumor and the fact that it had not spread past my lymph nodes, which all was a series of different things to figure that all out. They don't know all that necessarily right away. So the other thing is the makeup of the tumor. So there are things, it can be either estrogen positive or negative, progesterone positive or negative, and what they call HER2, HER number 2, positive or negative. So it can be positive for all those things. It could be what's called triple negative, where it's negative for all those things, or some combination in between. So mine was actually positive for all of it. ER positive, PR positive, and HER2 positive. The last thing is the grade. So there are basically grades 1, grade 2, grade 3. So grade 1 is when the cells are not widely differentiated and it is a pretty predictable and a slower growing cancer. Stage 2 is somewhere in the middle where it is not as predictable and more differentiated and a little bit more aggressive. And then grade 3 is where it is highly differentiated, not as predictable, and therefore very aggressive. So in my case, it was grade 3. And so even though I was very fortunate to have found it myself early on, and it was still on the smaller side, being 1.9 centimeters, it was highly aggressive. So that all those things together end up dictating what types of treatment plans you have, if you need chemotherapy or not, if you need radiation or not, and how they actually stage the cancer, for that purpose as well. The good thing about being ER, PR, and HER2 positive is that there are a lot more treatments out there for people that are positive with those characteristics. And yet, those are all things that early on, it was like a foreign language to me. I didn't understand any of what they were talking about. So my first stop was my breast surgeon, who basically outlined all of this for me, and we did not involve an oncologist until after the fact, because they're more looking at the chemotherapy plan and the ongoing follow-up and treatment. So for me, the surgeon was the first stop, and there we started to talk about what options I had versus what's medically recommended, and we will pick back up on the surgery topic at that point. So I hope that this was helpful for you or someone in your world, and again, don't hesitate to email me or comment as to what else you want to know. You can also reach out to me personally, and I'm happy to talk to you one-on-one if that would be helpful too. All right, bye-bye.